It's October 11, 2021. It's 12:29 p.m. I just delivered where I had to do two alley dock turns. And I did it without knocking anything over or damaging any property or blowing out any tires. This is take two. I started this video. I tried to take a video at 7:30 this morning when I first departed, and I ran out of memory on my phone. We're in Minnesota, United States of America. I'm happy to show you this town. Very nice town. Very charming. And obviously a clean, quiet neighborhood. Or just people aren't out and about. Not really sure. Maybe they're off to work at the factory. I don't even know. But the fella I delivered for, he was a very nice man. I felt no sense of threat from him whatsoever. And he was very cordial and polite. And he was very grateful. Well, I guess he gets some trouble from his neighbor. Some truckers, they are stupid, some of these truckers. They used his neighbor's driveway to deliver. And that's private property. You do not go on private property if you are a trucker. I don't know why truckers do that, but he forewarned me and he told me he doesn't want me going on his neighbor's driveway. So I didn't. I got 3 years experience, and I worked for a company where I backed into alley docks sometimes 3 times a week on average, sometimes 3 times a night. Not alley docks, but docks. So I can do it. I'm not the best, but here's a trick. When you leave a situation, you should be able to see how you should have backed out of there, because if you can pull forward out of there, that's the same tire tracks you should be using to back in there. That's a trick. So whenever you're in a tight spot, just remind yourself that you'll be able to figure it out later on your way out, how you should have done it. I use that technique just to tell myself how to do things proper. Otherwise, I'll be ending up inside of a ditch. This here's the historical downtown side of Ferry Boat, Minnesota. I do believe that's a fleur-de-lis. So that means this must be a French town. Founded by the Francophones, I would imagine. Yeah, man, I had a great video for you, and it stopped at 20 minutes, but it went 1 hour. So I had to delete it. Let's see if I can sort of recreate what I my freestyling methods. Sorry about that. I'm using ancient technology on my. I got my headphones wired into my phone. I'm using a microphone on my gaming headphones. You got to make do. I need to get a following. I need people to like, share, and subscribe to my videos. I made a whole bunch of videos. There's about 20 videos that I haven't uploaded yet. I'm probably going to upload this one while I'm in the USA because I have unlimited data. So send one out for now, and then when I get back home, I'll upload those other 20, at least 10 of them. But I'm kind of ahead of myself and moving backwards a little bit. Just want to give you a quick update on how things are going here. I had a tough week last week. As you know, or you probably don't know because I haven't uploaded the video yet, but last week Canada had the very first National Truth and Reconciliation Day. And so a lot of people were talking about that, and our Prime Minister he went on vacation and didn't talk to almost any survivors of Indian residential school. Just goes to show where his head is at and how he doesn't give a shit about reconciliation or truth. And he just empowered a shitload of racists and set us back 5 or 6 years of progress. That's what our Prime Minister did. And you know that I'm just remembering that guy told me he swept out the trailer for me. I thought that was so nice. Like I didn't have to do that. Um, I don't think he had to do it either. I think maybe he did and maybe he didn't. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it was a week of triggers and remembering past horrific traumas and events in my life. Because both of my parents went to Indian residential school. Well, my mother went to the day school programs. My father went to the residential school. And that's mostly what I talk about, is my experience with Indian residential school as a child of survivors, people who survived Indian residential school. And surviving Indian residential school is no understatement. There's a document online if you want to read all about it. It's an official Canadian document. Um, Part of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. They wrote up a report talking all about it, and then they had 94 recommendations, I believe. You got to do a little check in your by leaning forward to make sure there's no little cars hiding in your blind spot. I have done that before and nearly run people off the road. because I was negligent. You know what that grinding is? This clutch. You gotta really push it right through the floor in order to engage the clutch so that you don't hear any grinding. And I push hard and I still can't get it to stop. And Garmin's being nice to me today. So I had a tough week last week. It's my cable again. Yeah, the boss's son started harassing me. And I guess I wasn't answering his questions fast enough. He was getting frustrated and I could hear him muttering under his breath.
Continue on I-35.
Profanities that were indicative of the frustration and aggression hypothesis in which the goal for him was to get me to answer lickety split and most Ricky tick. But as I was unable to answer as quickly as was the objective, it didn't matter, because it didn't matter if I answered fast enough or not. It still would never be good enough for an abuser like that guy. Nothing you can do will ever be good enough for an abuser. You will never satisfy an abuser, no matter how hard you try. It's impossible. They don't want you to succeed. They will never, ever be satisfied with your progress, with your outcome. They're just miserable. They're just going to be miserable. Well, I could feel myself being sucked into this guy's nightmare. Because all of a sudden I was trying to accommodate his frustration and aggression. I was trying to satisfy him by answering a question faster. And the question was, where are you? And I didn't know, because all I was concerned about was getting to a safe spot. So I took the next safest exit and found a safe spot, but I didn't know where I was. And there was an engine failure. It wasn't like a total shutdown, but I lost power because the air intake blower had exploded inside of the engine. There was a huge pop. I don't know, maybe a squirrel got in there, I think, maybe, or a cat plugged it all up, and then it caused the air to build up and explode through the rubber pipe. There was a spring and everything sticking out, guts all over the place. But anyways, the question was, where are you? And I didn't know. So I tried to go on my phone. I gave him an address. I told him, but he didn't want to look it up himself. Well, why couldn't you just look it up yourself? I mean, I just gave you the address of where I'm at. You know, why just gave me some random address? I don't know where that is. Well, look it up. That's what I was thinking. Of course, I didn't say that, because I know when I'm talking to an abuser, Holy Christ, this truck has a blown engine. I seen black shit fly out of there. Oh shit. That guy that engine is gone. But I didn't know what exit I was at, so I had to walk over to the sign, which is about 400 meters away. I had to walk all the way over there, and then he has to wait. And he's muttering and he's swearing. So I used my phone and I dropped a pin on Google Maps or whatever, and I saw the sign that said exit wherever I was, the exit number, and I said I'm at this highway at exit blah blah blah. So, but I felt like I was a cat that had been rubbed the wrong way. You know, I knew what I was experiencing was the after effects of being harassed. Harassed. Well, I fired off an email to HR right away. Apparently that's what they want you to do is respond immediately, so I did. I told them that I survived survivors of Indian residential school. I told them that I've witnessed a lot of my friends growing up who also survived survivors of Indian residential school go into gangs. Some were murdered. Some were disappeared. Some were dead by suicide. Some were shot by police. And of course, police are always cleared of any wrongdoing when they do that. Some police were exploiting sex trade workers in my city. But of course, the witnesses failed to show up in court and they never could prosecute anybody. It's a different world when you're a sex trade worker. You don't really believe that you have any rights. But anyways, I wrote about all this. I was saying, look, I've been through a lot of really bad shit in my life. I've experienced horrific trauma. I've seen what has become of my parents and my aunts and uncles and my grandparents as a result of the intergenerational effects of Indian residential school. And I will describe that abundantly very shortly. I basically said that I could have been worse than I am, I suppose. I could have ended up like a lot of my friends and family. I could have become a full-blown predator, just like they are. They remain to be. And my point was, I don't know what this guy's been through, but I am pretty sure it was nothing like what I went through. And I am nowhere near as miserable and antisocial as this guy. What happened in this guy's life that would turn him into such a miserable, antisocial personality disordered type on the disordered end? And the only thing I can think of is that he was raised in an environment where people kissed his ass a lot because he was the owner's son. You know, you don't fuck around with the owner's son if you want a job. You fail in your lane change, old man. You must have got your driver's license out of a Cracker Jack box. I know you can do better than that. Well, I put the HR lady in an awkward position because now she has to go and talk to the owner's son. And there's a power dynamic there. You know? The power dynamic is such that she is a manager, but not the owner's daughter. He is a manager, but is the owner's son. So, we shall see what happens, but I don't expect the outcome to be too bright for me. All I ask is that I be treated with dignity and respect just like anybody else. I'm not asking for any extra special attention, not asking for, or am I expecting anything extra as a result of being a child of survivors of Indian residential school. My point of that story was, if I can experience the horrific traumas that I've experienced and still have the wherewithal to go and get myself some help. You know what I told the doc when he asked me, "What are you doing here? What brought you in?" I said, "Well, my parents went to Indian residential school. My dad went to the residential school. My mom went to the day school. I know that you can't be a normal person if you were raised in a family like mine. It I don't think that there's anything wrong with me. At least I don't have the sense that that I would require being here in your office. But I'm educated enough to know that I need to be in this office because I am unaware of whatever it is that I need to be aware. But the boss's son probably can't get there. Probably will never get there. I just can't see it happening. When you've been growing up in a home where you have everything and where people are being fake and phony nice to you because they don't want to offend you, you get a bit of a chip on your shoulder knowing that you have power over people. If you're a little kid and you recognize that, and if you're a teenager and you recognize that you have power over people, because I imagine the timelines of this company would go back to before he was born. Um according to the story, the owner was a truck driver who expanded the trucking business into 2 trucks and then 3 trucks and then built a business, and now it's 400 trucks, something like that, strong. So growth would have been quick and rapid, and the owner's son would have grown up in this environment. He looks like maybe 28 years old. So this business can't be much more than 20. Maybe 22 years. So I don't know. Maybe he was born after this business was growing or during or whatever. I had Thanksgiving dinner leftovers. Canada Thanksgiving was the day before yesterday. So I wanted an extra day off just to recover from all of that shit. The truck broke down like 3 times. They fixed it right away each time. So like the support system that's going on in this company, I don't really know too much about this company yet. It's been 5 months. I can't believe I've lasted this long. I already tried to quit once. But you see, when that guy was talking to me like that, I could feel myself getting pulled into his dream, in his imagination, his fantasy, where he doesn't see me as a human being. He sees me as a dumb, stupid animal, like a mule. And you could beat a mule black and blue and it still won't budge. If it doesn't want to go, it won't go. My dad told me that one time. He said, you're like a mule. You can beat a mule black and blue, and if it doesn't want to go, it won't go. And that's how this guy sees me. Like I'm some kind of dumb beast of burden. He doesn't think so. He'll be in denial if I told him that. He'll say, "Oh no, I know who you are. I know that you're a person." He'll say all the right things. You deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. I don't have any right to talk to you in the manner that I did, and I'm sorry, he'll say. But the truth is he thinks I'm a beast of burden. It's just sitting there in the back of his mind. And all it takes is one trigger for him to start treating me like I'm some sort of beast of burden. And in that instant, there wouldn't be anything I could do or say that would change his mind about that. I could be like a whipped cur, rolling on my back with my legs up in the air and my tail tucked in between my legs, whimpering and crying, and it would just make things worse. Because that's inside the back of that guy's mind is a monster. It's the beast of burden. It's the whipped cur. And it can't stand it when I try to tell it to stop. It can't. It makes it worse to beg for mercy. Because when you see me as a beast of burden doesn't deserve mercy. And so the master's whip will come down harder and harder and more fierce. So the best thing you can do is just freeze and, like a whipped cur, maybe piss yourself. So that's what I was experiencing when I was pulled into his nightmare. This is why I call it a nightmare. Because in his imagination, I was a beast of burden. And the last thing I wanted to do was answer his question right away. So in retrospect, there was no right or wrong way to interact with such a thing. And I say thing because he is a person. It's just in that moment he lost all sense of humanity. He lost all sense of personhood, and whatever kind of person he wants to be, he lost it all. Because my air intake blower blew up. I didn't do anything to make that happen. And now all of a sudden he has to find a solution for me. And holy fuck, whatever he was doing before that was more important than fucking finding me support. And I was in the way of that because I didn't answer fast enough. And in his imagination, all he could do was wait for me. And in his waiting, the pain and suffering and the mental anguish burned with a fierce and searing fire on his skin. It was like the old Spanish Inquisition days when the Jesuits would stick a red hot spike up your ass and push it into your stomach. And that's what kind of suffering he was experiencing in that moment. And my natural propensity to help was triggered. Oh fuck, I better hurry up. This guy's really suffering. I can hear it in his mutterings and his profanities. I can hear it in his silence. That all he could do was just be silent, so that he could hold back the floodgates of hell. Pardon me. Now, I'm not exaggerating any of this. This is the horror and trauma of an abusive relationship. The more I tried to be helpful, the worse it got for me. The more painful it got for him. The more things that I did to try and answer his question as quickly as possible, the worse it got for him and me. So I just stopped and I said, I'm not going to engage in this abusive relationship. And when I did that, that's when I went to Google and dropped a pin on the road and figured out what exit I was at. And that ended our suffering, our abusive relationship. But I still felt like I was a cat that had been rubbed the wrong way. A cool cat, mind you. So I'll leave it there, and I'll come back to you and finish this story in the next video. How about that? Please like, share, and subscribe. Okay, and if you have any comments or questions, don't hesitate to write something down. All my stories are backed up by informed research. Look at this failure. Fail. You fail. You don't have the courage to pass properly. See that person there, they think that a big truck can stop. Better fucking stop. Better fucking stop for me. Well, I hope so. I know I'm empty, so I know I can stop a little bit better. But when you're 80,000 pounds, all you're going to do is burn rubber on the highway. The power of inertia will stop your will propel you forward even though your all 18 wheels are applied and stopped. You will still be propelled forward. And you don't want to get hit by an 80,000 pound vehicle. You will die. And probably not very quickly either. You will suffer a little bit. You'll wish you had died sooner, quicker. Oh, I'm a barrel of glad tidings today, am I not? Well, I'm not triggered. I'm just ready to tell you the story. I just want to give you an update on what's going on with this company. I seem to be learning more. But anyways, I'll leave it at that, and I'll finish this story in another video. Coming up briefly.